ABC Kinderteach presents Fred Stays With Me, written by Nancy Coffelt, illustrated by Tricia Tusa. Sometimes I live with my mom, sometimes I live with my dad. So the mother and father may be divorced, or at least they're not living together, so she spends part of her time with her mom and part of her time with her dad. My dog Fred stays with me. There's Fred. I still go to the same school. I still have the same friends. So the mom and dad live in separate places, but they still live pretty close to the school, so she doesn't have to go to different schools. But in one of my rooms, I have a bunk bed. There's her bunk bed. And in my other room, I have a regular one. Fred sleeps on the floor. Wow, look at Fred. He is sleeping in a very funny way. When my mom and I have pizza, or when my dad and I eat peanut butter sandwiches, Fred waits for crumbs. Look at Fred. He's under the tablecloth. Isn't that silly? And it looks like he might have his bowl on top of his head. At my mom's, Fred barks at the poodle next door. There's Fred barking at the poodle. At my dad's, Fred steals socks. I think Fred is stealing the dad's socks. But Fred always has time to play. It looks like she used a ladder to climb up the tree, and there's Fred. My mom is tired of all the barking. What am I going to do with this dog? She says. My dad is tired of searching for socks.
What am I going to do with Fred?
He says. So at the mom's house, Fred barks at the poodle all the time, and she's getting tired of it, and he's making quite a mess. And at the dad's house, he keeps taking his dad's socks, probably chews them up, maybe. Sometimes my mom drives us to the park. On other days, my dad takes us to the lake. Fred likes to ride in the car. And there he is with his head sticking out the window, smelling the air. Fred shakes park mud all over the seats of my mom's car. Look how muddy the seat is. What am I going to do with this dog? My mom says. Fred shakes lake water all over the seat of my dad's pants. My dad says,
What am I going to do with Fred?
So Fred is making a mess at both places. They're not liking Fred very much. Fred is my friend. We walk together, we talk together. When I'm happy, Fred is too. And when I'm sad, Fred is there. So she really likes Fred. So I think that the parents are going to have to figure out a way to make it work. But now there's trouble. My mom is mad. The neighbor's poodle barks at Fred all the time. So Fred used to bark at the poodle, and now the poodle is barking at Fred. My dad is mad. Fred has eaten all his socks. He looks pretty happy about it. What are they going to do about this problem and this problem? Fred can't stay with me, says my mom.
Fred can't stay with me,
says my dad. Excuse me, I say. Fred doesn't stay with either of you. Fred stays with me. So she's saying, if Fred goes, I go. But they're going to figure it out, aren't they? My mom and I come up with a plan. We help Fred make friends with the poodle next door. And look at Fred's giving the poodle a bone. My dad and I come up with a plan. We buy Fred a new chew toy. There it is right there. And make sure all the socks are put away. Good idea, good idea. Sometimes I live with my mom. Sometimes I live with my dad. But Fred stays with me. And look at, he's licking her.